Welcome back to Broncos Country Tonight. One of the things that we talk a lot about on the show is about fit. We talk about it in relation to quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, the team they're drafted to, the coaching staff, the scheme, and how that can help a guy. Like Patrick Mahomes is going to be a good quarterback no matter what. But would he be the quarterback we see right now without Andy Reid? Tough to say. If he would have gone to, say, the Chicago Bears, I don't necessarily know if Patrick Mahomes is the elite level quarterback he is if he had that start and he had that system and everything around him there. One of the things I wanted to get to here is I feel like it's a similar conversation for wide receivers. And I was taking a look at the wide receivers drafted in the first round this last year. Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson, and Brandon Ayuk. Now, Reagor and Ruggs kind of take this off our plate here because they're both hurt. But right now, CeeDee Lamb, who was my wide receiver one, and Brandon Ayuk, who is one of my guys, are both killing it right now in the league. Justin Jefferson's also having a great start. He's actually leading all of those rookies in yards. But it kind of got me thinking about fit for wide receivers because as much as Jerry Jeudy can be really, really special here, I think in the long term, there is something to say about his production is matched a little bit with the scheme and matched with the quarterback that's throwing to him versus, say, Dak Prescott, who's throwing for 500 yards in a game to a guy like CeeDee Lamb.
Right. It is. It's not just about it's about fit. It's about scheme. And it's about the quarterback throwing you the ball. Even Randy Moss had the had the brakes put on him when he went out to the Raiders and couldn't get a quarterback to get him the ball. Randy's probably the second greatest receiver of all time. And so, it really is a combination of factors. Wide receivers are not independent of their surroundings. So if you get stuck with a Nathan Peterman back there at quarterback, your stats, your targets, everything's going to take a hit. Jeudy has, unfortunately, run across the Jeff Driscoll breaking pattern, where Driscoll unfortunately holds the ball a little too long, takes sacks, it takes targets out and away from the receivers, and so that's kind of hindered, I guess, his ability to get out there and make some big plays. He hasn't had Cortland Sutton opposite him to take the pressure off. CeeDee Lamb's the guy who's got Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup out there to take he's getting CB3 coverage. Jerry Jeudy's getting CB1 in a lot of cases. So, I don't want to make excuses for anybody, but I want to put proper context on it. You're absolutely right. A lot of it is about the fit, the scheme, and the coaching, the offense, and then the opportunities and who you put up against. And I think Jerry Jeudy's going to be a highly productive receiver in this league for a long time, but right now he's not in the best situation going on quarterback 3 in 5 games in order to maximize his productivity.
Which is kind of interesting because if Jerry Jeudy was, say, plugged into the Dallas Cowboys, he would be having a lot of success out there. If he was plugged
a monster year.
Yeah, he would be having a monster year. There's a lot of situations where Jerry Jeudy, who's having a good start. He's got 15 receptions for 234, and he's got a touchdown, which we saw against the Jets. He's having a good year. I'm not down on him at all, but I do recognize a little bit of how, you have to put a little bit of nuance in that conversation because he has 3 different quarterbacks that he's now had to work with to start the season. Now, one of the things that you talk about quite a bit on the show is how he is actually going to be wide receiver 2. He has the upside of a wide receiver 1 based on talent, but in this offense, in this scheme, our expectations have to be more like a wide receiver 2, don't they?
Well, kind of, yeah, and his role is different. With a healthy Cortland Sutton, what you're looking at next year and down the line with Jerry Jeudy is that he's the backside guy that makes plays. You use Cortland Sutton as your chain mover, your contested catch guy. And then when you get play action situations or backside stuff, you throw the ball to Jeudy and let him create after the catch. It's similar to what Shermer had going on, in New England when they were trying to get that whole thing together and they had Golden Tate as the wide receiver 2. The idea there was, you go to your wide receiver 1 to move the chains, and then you have Tate on the backside, and when they start, moving everything away, you can get the ball to him and let him create something after the catch. Tate's a former running back playing wide receiver. Judy's got moves like a running back, playing wide receiver. It's a staple of the Pat Shermer offense. That second receiver, that backside receiver, usually has ability to create after the catch, and that's what you want to do. You want to put him in position to do that. Right now, still learning the craft. They run him out of the slot as kind of wide receiver 3 with Timmy Patrick as wide receiver 1, and then Deshaun and other guys rotating through the 2 spot. But the idea in the end will be to do that. Will be to have him, get him out there and allow him to create in space and maximize his talent that way.
But then that means KJ Hamler, his role ends up being the guy starting on the outside.
For now.
He's not hurt. He's hurt right now, but
right.
Inevitably, we're talking about fit.
Right now, you're having him, Cleveland, Hamilton, whomever, play those snaps on the outside. In the end, I think they'd like to have Jerry Jeudy on the outside and Hamler out of the slot because you can't press Hamler at that point, and then he gets a free takeoff with that speed to be able to threaten defenses vertically. But right now, you're more concerned about getting your primary guy, Jerry Jeudy, the reps he needs and getting him used to what he needs to do, and then you kind of work on it from there.
Okay, so in the context of what they're trying to do right now, what's a realistic expectation in a per-game target for Jerry Jeudy as a wide receiver, too, in this respect, based on not so much the talent, because I think we could make an argument on, what Jerry Jeudy offers and what he represents is an elite weapon for this team. But I think that you also have to put this in context. If Tim Patrick's taking over the Courtland Sutton role, that's exactly what it looked like against the Jets, then Jerry Jeudy should get, 6, 7, maybe even more targets per game?
Well, if in an all things being equal situation, depends on the number of plays you're going to get off per game. If you're playing a running team, it slows the clock up. You're not going to get as many plays. But, in all things being equal, an average situation, your wide receiver 1 needs to get somewhere between 6 and 10 targets a game. Your wide receiver 2 needs to get somewhere between 4 and 8 targets a game, and you go from there. And the fact that Noah Fant's not in there, too, probably means that Judy's going to get a few more targets than he normally would. So, I think 4 to 6 targets is fair. Anything you get beyond that's gravy, and you'd like to see him bust one of those per game. You want to get 3 or 4 of those where he's just getting the catch, and then 1 more at least where he's busting one.
But does it change now? Because right now you need to have some explosive moments on your offense. He provided was an underthrown ball. He provided an explosive moment for that offense. So part of me wants to almost force feed a little bit there.
You want to be careful. You don't want to force feed to the point where defenses are jumping it. You don't want to make it apparent that that's what you're doing. But I'd like to make sure you make a concerted effort to get him at least 1 ball per quarter and then go from there. You want to get him 1 chance per quarter to make a big play. And if you do that, then you're probably going to be successful on one of those.
And, of course, we also haven't seen Phillip Lindsay just yet out there on the field. He was only out there limited experience in Game 1. We'll get to see him hopefully coming up with the Patriots. That does it for our show. Thank you for watching Broncos Country Tonight.